Hello everybody, it's Sunday. That means another episode from the Aurelia city. In the last one, we took care of some expansion of the crater, which turned out looking really good. Make sure you see the previous episodes if you missed those. And today, I would like to go not far from here, just across the main avenue road into the residential district where we already built the Hive project back in episode 4, I believe. I already expanded this place just a tiny bit way back during the live streams, so this will show that together with what I did during this week as well. Also, in this episode, I would like to try something slightly new. There will be some cinematics, even in the time-lapse part of the video, to better show some details and to kind of break the time-lapse into, more parts, making more interesting. Among other things, we will do a few really cool projects today, creating a pond where the canal is, then building yet another sunken tram station right in that empty place in the middle of the screen right now. Some interesting procedural object residential structures closer to the highway, continuing the hive block we have already built. And on the other side of the pond, residential structure similar to the hive, and closer to the main avenue, we will continue the train tracks, and underneath them some interesting commercial area. And finally, we will finish the plaza coming from the pond, the lower pond we built a long time ago. So let's go. Right, so like I mentioned before, we have already built this place a long time ago on the live streams. You can obviously tell by the different name of the city and the population count, which is obviously much higher already. And I really wanted to just continue the tram tracks, this line of the tram, into this residential area. There's going to be multiple of these kinds of stations. I'm not sure if they are going to be sunken absolutely everywhere further down this line, but we will see about that. But like I said, we have built this really long time ago. I was not really that into procedural object at this point in the live streams in the building of the city, but that obviously really changed very soon. So as you can see, I was just keeping the place mostly empty, I mean, between the roads in here, and kind of reserving it for this tram station. So I built it right underneath all those buildings and basically kept it on the same level as the entrance on the other side of the hive. And it's just going underground on the other side of this place where there's just a simple loop. I later connected it. This line, actually, I later connected it underground all the way to the crater area because I just wanted to have the trams, going there. But it's not going to be the same line. I think it's going to be in the next episode where I'm actually going to do like a crossing of 2 tram lines. One, which is going to be this one, probably going to be like a multi-level tram crossing, probably, which is probably going to have this tram line as the lower one. And the one coming from the crater is going to be on the top of it. There's going to be also some kind of a train station exchange. It should be kind of interesting. But, back to the topic of this video, obviously. So I'm not sure if I actually built this tram station before I did the roundabout. I had to, yeah, I definitely did. So, I mean, the roundabout tram station that we have seen in like 3 episodes back, something like that. So this was built before that, and I kind of still experimented with, the theme or how these sunken tram stations should look. And I decided to just go with a commercial area, like a kind of a high-ish density commercial area with a lot of buildings all around the sunken part of this place. So as you can see, there's a ton of commercial buildings around, and what's kind of interesting about this place is that it's highly functional, which means that it has entrances inside the tram, the station part, from pretty much everywhere around this place on the surface. There are obviously the elevator buildings, of course. We have seen some time ago, some few seconds ago, that I was doing like an underground path underneath the road into this area, and I was actually making it fit that one commercial building. The commercial building has like the front wall, which kind of extends to the sides a bit, and there are like holes which look like some kind of passageways. You can see that in there. So you could have seen some people actually going there. See there. So that definitely fit that place really nicely. And then I was just playing with procedural objects a bit more to create some other entrances into this area. Now I should probably mention this. I am kind of rushing through these builds in these time lapses because I really don't want to just show absolutely every single piece of construction process that I did in here, because it's kind of lengthy and not all that interesting to watch anyway. So I'm just showing you the main highlights of the entire build. And not long into the video, we are going to see some few cinematics of these finished sub-projects of the entire build for today's episode, okay? So I have finished that Sunken tram station. It's not really detailed around, but the station itself is done. And now I really wanted to go and finish, well, not really finish, but extend the hive. Okay, so I was really not sure how I should do that. If I should just like end it somehow, do the extension of that road around the hive, and maybe just do something very similar to the buildings that we can see on the left right now. But then I really decided to just go underground with the road, with the tunnel entrance. Obviously, these are the network extension roads because they do have the model for inside of the tunnel. And on top of that, I placed, I think this was actually my first experience with procedural object buildings, and I placed them on top of the tunnel entrance, kind of around the tunnel entrance. You are going to see them a bit more, but I really wanted to just kind of make the tunnel entrance fit into the structures like this. And then I just used procedural object concrete walls to create like a little, I'm not sure how to call it, like a balcony, which is going to be having a grass surface with, like, you know, detailing, garden detailing, whatever you might call it, and these walls, sorry, these how do you call them? The barriers, the glass barriers, to the glass panels to kind of separate that place, even like acoustically from, you know, from the road. So I don't know, it kind of turned out interesting, I suppose. I think I'm going to have a ton of screenshots. I already posted a ton of screenshots from this place. Like I said, when I was building it on the live stream, so that was a long time ago. You probably could have seen it. And if you've been obviously watching the streams a long time ago, then you do remember this place, how we were building it. Actually, it took quite a long time. I was not a lot familiar with procedural objects back then, so, you know, I was just learning the things. And this is what I was talking about, the first few cinematics in the time-lapse section that we are going to see. So as you can see, I really, you know, detailed that place nicely with some garden props, like, you know, the tables and chairs and whatnot. And together with the Sunken tram station, I think it turned out looking really nice, and actually looking like a little really quiet area for like residents, obviously. The roads don't see that much traffic, like car traffic on the top, because there's not that many people living in those places anyway. Okay, so we have finished that, and now we are moving to the rest of the area that I want to cover in today's episode. So we had this canal in here, the little, like a, well, canal, yeah, sure, the vanilla canal that was supposed to be like a pond. Now, later I changed it. I completely got rid of the canal, and I only put down the water source inside, like a little you know, pond that is, well, the border of the pond is, how do you call the, what's the word, is defined, yes, defined, is defined by the roads around it, which are obviously creating, you know, the enclosure for the entire thing, right? So as a result, the pond is a tiny bit bigger than the pond that we have, you know, on the lower level that we have been doing a long time ago, but it actually is kind of interesting. Now, what I'm doing in here is I'm rebuilding the extension of the pond, like the third level, you could call it. This is going to be topic of the next video next week. So I'm just showing, you know, just a little glimpses of what we're going to see next time. I was also doing like a train station in here, but like I said, I'm just showing a little glimpse of this. I will go through this place, the construction of this place, more in detail in the next episode, because that's going to be the topic of the next episode. All right, so I just showed how I placed those train stations there, because it will be visible in the cinematics, you know, so that people are not confused as to, you know, what is that, right? So we have done that, kind of prepared for that, but now we have this residential, another hive, I suppose, to build, right? So I copied the shape of those, I think these are called the contemporary apartment buildings. I'm not exactly sure how these are called, but these are obviously the same buildings that we have used with the Hive project. You could have seen me just copy pasting it from the original Hive that we have built. Now I just placed a few of these. I didn't really spend that much time doing this particular block, this particular residential block, because I really wanted to have it very, very similar to the hive that we have already built, which means that I just copy pasted it, like I said, mostly, and used the same style, obviously. So I even used these buildings. I have no idea what these are called, but again, if you have them, then you probably know them because they are kind of typical. And I just use them almost exactly how I used them before. So the first level is made from those, those red buildings and the other colored buildings, and the second level, the top level is kind of made from these the white, bigger buildings with the balconies and all that. Okay, so that was right, like the rough shape of that place. We're obviously going to decorate it, detail it, make some kind of a wall around it, and put the fake grass on top of that. Now, I really wanted to do, before I do those final detailings, I really wanted to take care of this place. We have this stone walkway. I'm not sure how this white-ish road is called, but I really wanted to just do something about it. Now, this road is coming from that previous residential area on a very, very low level. And to put it somehow, higher to at least the level of the residential buildings that we have been doing just a few seconds ago, it would have been a kind of a problem. So I decided to just not continue with those roads somewhere inside the district, but just end them into some kind of a loop, like you can see here, like a box. And then I just build like a simple access road from the surface into the tunnel. And I'm going to make this place into some sort of a, like a not so nice looking, like a residential area, commercial area. Some of those commercial areas that you can see in like the futuristic movies, where if you look directly up above you, all you can see are buildings, every piece of sky is just covered with buildings, and you can only see like a very small portion of it because you are very, very deep in the construction, right? Or all the buildings around you. So something like that, I'm later going to detail the surfaces, to put some like stains on the surfaces to not make them look all that nice. This is definitely not like a nice shopping area, okay? This is like a, well, obviously not so, super dangerous place to be in, but not that incredibly interesting commercial area to be in, right? But something that probably could be inside some futuristic cities, right? Not every place in a futuristic city is probably going to be like nice, where you would really want to be in, right? Okay, enough of that. Like I said, I was just doing some of the detailing on the first level of the residential second hive, whatever you want to call it. And I didn't really bother putting that all in the time lapses. I just put some concrete walls around it and the fake surface, the fake grass on top of that. Now I would like to do the second level, top level, I guess, where we have all these roads and we need to deal with the tracks, the train tracks. At first, I really wanted to just cover it up, make it go into the tunnel, not show it at all. But I really want to show these trains. I really want to have all the trains visible. Don't really want to put everything underground, every infrastructure. So I'm going to create like a little tunnel, like glass tunnel for that train portion of the tracks, right? So that's going to be, I'm not sure when I'm going to show it in the time lapse. Probably right now. No, not yet. Okay, we're gonna wait for that a little bit. We're just going to put a few of these residential buildings. These are actually exactly the same buildings that I used with the previous hive. Again, I wanted to create the second portion of this residential district in the same style as the previous one. So, there's some continuation between the styles, which is obviously something that we kind of want in these places because it just makes you, feel like this place was built in maybe one project or one go or something like that. Okay, there we go, finally. So we are back with that train corridor, we might call it. And at first, I just created like a side walls using these keys, steel keys, I think. I'm not sure if these are already in the vanilla game. Probably not. These are from the workshop, right? So I just put it on the sides. I kind of had to deal with the issues with Move It when if you are moving these kinds of walls and the terrain underneath them is not exactly smooth. It just jumps up and down. The camera just jumps up and down, kind of annoying. And then I just use procedural objects, again, no surprises here, to create these walls. Well, not walls, these like covers, let's say, glass covers, because I really want to have those trains visible, really want to see them go in this place. Then I continued these walls all the way to that commercial area that we have been building over here and built this concrete wall in here to kind of end it. I later put a lot of different commercials around the place, some lights and all that, and we are going to actually see in just a few seconds a very nice cinematic from the night in this area. So there we go, there it is. Okay, so as you can see, a lot of commercials. The trains actually look really, really great. We're gonna see one more train going into that concrete corridor in here, and it really, really does look good when it's going inside it. And you know, obviously it's lit up and it's just looking good. It's just looking good. I don't know how else I should describe that place. It's just great. Okay, so more fake surfaces in here, as you can see, even more elevators, more passages for the pedestrians. This place definitely is very walkable. That's even a word. There's a lot of elevators between the different levels. Everything is obviously connected so that people can go to that tram stop. And there's obviously going to be more tram stops all around this place, more train stations, and all that kind of stuff. So people can definitely use the public transport a lot in this particular place, which is obviously what I want. The traffic in here is pretty much non-existent. You can even see it in some of these time lapses that the roads are pretty much empty. There's not really that many cars going there because everyone is just using the public transport. That's kind of you know, the key to creating a good functioning like a public transport networks. You have to provide like some convenience for people to use the public transport and a slight inconvenience for, you know, car traffic. So that roads are not exactly all that convenient to use because, you know, they don't provide like a straight path or something like that. This place, just a straightforward continuation of the plaza from the lower pond. I just used this concrete sculpture, or whatever you call it, and put some planters around it. Again, kind of using very, very similar style to what I already did previously. I don't even know the number of the episode, but we have been doing some plazas, you know, closer to the lower pond in the main downtown area. Now, this pond, I just wanted to detail it just a tiny bit, doing these reeds, I think it's called, and then just some detailing around the tram station. But that's almost it for today's episode. Still some cinematics left, of course. Next week, we are going back to the schedule of videos on Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, with 2 Industries videos and 1 Aurelia, which is the Sunday video as per usual. I already mentioned the topic of the next episode. We will continue building this place, build the 3rd pond in here. I hope you liked today's video, guys. If you did, leaving a like, commenting, and sharing is always appreciated. And you can also follow me on Twitter if you want. And last but not least, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to this channel. Thank you guys for watching. Take care and goodbye.